What's going on, guys? Day number 8 of the year of the leader, and I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever considered what the process is for things to change? Yeah, the process. There's an actual process, and what's interesting about this process is that you don't actually have to do anything for things to change. And here's what I mean. If, say for instance, you have a car, like I'm sitting in the car right now. If you have a car and you don't drive the car, and you never drive the car, say you bought the car, brand new car, and you don't turn it on, and you don't use the car, and you come back to the car, say a couple years later, do you think the car is going to work? A lot of times these cars won't even start up because the battery is just going to die because it wasn't used. Or let's look at your grass. If you have a house, you have grass. Now, the interesting thing about grass is that, you don't have to plant the weeds. The weeds just come up. Think about that. The weeds just come up. Where'd these weeds come from? They just came up. I thought I put down good seed. So we put down the good seed for the grass, but yet the weeds come up. So let's think about change for a second. The things that we don't want will automatically happen in our life if we do not add the things that we need, the things that the thing needs. So say for instance, the grass. Let's go back to the grass. With the grass, if I don't continue to put down more seed, if I don't continue to put down fertilizer, if I'm not watering the grass, if the grass is not getting enough sun, if the grass isn't getting all the stuff, then the grass is not going to turn out to be grass. And next thing you know, you're going to be looking at crabgrass. You're going to be looking at the grass saying, man, I thought I was doing something with my grass, but it's not growing right. But now let's go back to ourselves. Let's go back to ourselves. So you want to change. You are a leader. You're an aspiring leader. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're someone who knows that there's a calling in your life. But here's the thing. You're like, man, I'm not growing the way I want to grow. Here's why. Because the weeds get to grow first. The weeds are going to grow up unless we actually stop the weeds from growing. But here's the thing. You may not be able to pull the weeds out. Literally, you may have to allow the weeds to grow with the best changes that you want. Well, what do you mean you can't pull them out? Well, let's think about the scripture. There's a scripture that says, a farmer planted, right? And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase here. A farmer planted a garden. A farmer planted some seed. And while the farmer was out doing his thing, an enemy came in and sowed some bad seed there, right? And then all the seeds are growing together. And so, then they came together to the farmer. They was asking the farmer, hey, farmer, what should we do? Should we just go ahead and pull up the bad seed? He says, no, don't pull them up. Let them all grow together. And by letting them all grow together, when it's time, when we come for the harvest, we'll come and pull those out first before we pull out the good harvest. So, wow, let's think about it. Man, I've got some bad thoughts that's been in my mind. But here's the thing. A lot of times when it comes to thoughts, you can't get rid of them. No, you can't get rid of them. If it's something that's happened in your life, you cannot get rid of the thoughts. I know that is true. Here's how I know. Just last night, I'm sleeping, doing my thing, and I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and I'm having thoughts of things from 10, 20 years ago. I'm like, why am I thinking about this? Because I can't get rid of it. It's there. And what happens is a lot of times your mind will try and play tricks on you to say, hey, look, you know what? Let's bring up these past things to derail them, to kind of get them from. And literally, it messed up my sleep. I lost 2 hours of sleep, and I wake up in the morning, I'm like, well, what was that about? And here this Lord's telling me, he says, yeah, because you got to remember, you can't pull those things out. It's that when the harvest comes, then we get them. So I'm personally in the harvest season. What about you? I'm in the harvest season. I'm recognizing that there's some bad seeds still hanging out. But here's what I know is true. Because we planted the good seed, because we've allowed the Lord of the harvest to now come in, to now start plucking up the good seed, the Lord of the harvest can now pull up the bad seeds. So how does one help themselves, right? How does a leader do this? How does a leader stay in this change mode? Here's how you stay in the change mode. You stay in the change mode by having an actual change that you desire. That's the first thing, right? Because if you don't actually have a change that that you desire, that you want, then you're going to just be a wandering generality. All heard someone say that before. So you don't want to be a wandering generality. What you want to be is a specific type person. What would you like to change into? Is what you should write down today. Here's what I like. Here's what I would like to change into. Here's who I would like to be. And that is the actual thing that you focus on for the rest of your life, or for the rest of this year, for the rest of this month. I don't know how long that's going to take, but as long as it takes until you receive it. But pray. Here's the thing now. You must pray to the Lord of the harvest. Ask the Lord of the harvest that when the time comes, pull up all the bad seeds, pull up all the things that has derailed me in the past, but right now we can let them all grow together, because at some point the Lord of the harvest is going to pull them up. So look, comment below. Look, yeah, I know this is getting deep, right? Comment below what change you are actually moving towards in 2026, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.